So Mozilla has been experimenting with some AI features in Firefox Nightly, its testing version of the browser, and it's taking a slightly different route than most. Instead of pushing flashy assistants or homepage takeovers, this approach leans more towards utility and user control. One of the standout tools is a sidebar that works with selected text. It can summarize, explain, quiz you on content, or even proofread it. What's notable here isn't just what it does, but how it does it, with the focus on transparency and putting users in control of what gets shared and when. Basically, it's like having a study buddy who doesn't judge your weird Google history. So in this video, we'll take a closer look at how it works, what makes it different from similar tools, and whether it's something that might actually be useful in everyday browsing. So first off, Firefox Nightly. If you're not familiar, it's Mozilla's testing ground. A version of Firefox where new experimental features show up first. It's not the most stable build, but it's where the cool experimental features appear early. Right now, one of those experimental features is the AI sidebar, which when enabled, lets you interact with different AI chatbots like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Hugging Chat, and the Chat Mistral, all right from your browser. The idea is pretty straightforward. You highlight text on the web page, and then the AI can do a few things with it. You can either summarize it, simplify it, or even proofread it. It's designed to make reading and learning online a little more efficient, especially when you're staring down a 5,000 word think piece and thinking, do I really need all of this? Now, because this is Mozilla we are talking about, privacy is a huge part of the conversation. They've built this experiment in a way that avoids collecting personal data. Everything is opt-in. You choose whether or not to use the AI features, and you choose which chatbot you want to interact with. That's important, especially as AI integration in browsers becomes more common. People are understandably concerned about things like data collection, tracking, how much information is sent to external servers. There's also been some recent buzz about Mozilla's updated terms of service, which led to concerns about privacy. But as for now, the AI features in Firefox Nightly are pretty transparent. The user is in control. Nothing happens unless you turn it on. So Mozilla's approach is different from the way other companies roll out AI, often by pushing it front and center with little to no explanation about what's being collected. Here, they are putting choice and clarity first. So if you want to try this out for yourself, it starts with downloading Firefox Nightly. So you can head over to Mozilla's desktop downloads page. There's a link in the description. Scroll all the way down and look for the Nightly build. Hit the download button, run the installer, and you're good to go. The install process is pretty standard, just like any other browser. No secret handshake required. Once it's installed, open Firefox Nightly and go to Settings. Under the General tab, scroll down to where it says Browser Layout, and here check the box for Show Sidebar. And this will give you quick access to things like bookmarks, sync tabs from your phones, and most importantly for this video, the AI chatbot feature. To make it easier to access, you can also customize your toolbar and drag the sidebar icon up top. That way it's always there. Now, open the sidebar and click on the star icon, which as you know nowadays usually represents AI. After that, you'll see a section for AI chatbots. You can choose from several options here like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Hugging Chat, and the Chat Mistral. Just select the one you prefer and it will become the default assistant in the sidebar. So, what does it actually do? Let's take an example. Say you're reading a long news article, highlight a paragraph or two of text, then right click, you see a new Ask GPT option. So it's showing Ask GPT because that's the model I chose. So the several commands are summarize, and this will give you a quick breakdown of the selected content. It trims the fluff and presents the main points, which is helpful if you are skimming or just want the gist of something tense. Explain this, which if the selected text is technical, complex, or uses unfamiliar terminology, this option breaks it down in simpler terms. So think of it like asking someone to rephrase it in plain English. Quiz me, and this one is a bit more interactive. It generates questions based on the selected content, almost like flashcards, which could be handy if you're trying to study or retain what you've read. And then there's proofread, and this checks the selection for grammar, clarity, and tone. Perfect if you're writing something or want to make sure that it doesn't sound like this from 2008. So let's choose summarize. And the way it works is by taking whatever text you selected on the page and injecting it into a prompt. You can actually see the prompt in the chat box. It starts with something like I am on a page titled, and then it grabs the actual title of the tab and places it inside a tab title tag. Then it continues with something like with wrapping your selected text inside the selection tags. So the chatbot gets both the context, which is the page title, and the exact content you selected. And if you scroll to the end of the prompt, you see the instructions that have been given to the AI model. They say something like, please summarize the selection using precise and concise language. Use headers and bulleted lists in the summary to make it scannable, maintain the meaning and factual accuracy. So it's kind of cool to see how everything is integrated like that. It's not just blindly throwing your text into a chatbot and praying for a miracle, and that level of clarity is pretty rare. For example, in Microsoft Edge, the Copilot feature is more polished but less transparent. You click a button and it summarizes the page, but you never see the logic behind it. It just happens. So both approaches have pros and cons, but Firefox gives you more insight, which is great if you're privacy conscious or just curious about how things work under the hood. And again, this is still experimental, so things might change, improve, or break. It's all part of testing in IT builds, and these features may actually never even come into the final build or the stable build of Firefox, but we'll get to see how it goes. Now, for those who prioritize privacy and prefer to keep their data on their own devices, Mozilla offers support for running AI chatbots locally using tools like Llama.file. Llama.file allows users to run large language models directly on their machines without the need for internet access or sharing data with external servers. While I can't provide a demonstration due to hardware limitations, it's worth noting that integrating Llama.file with Firefox AI features can offer more private and controlled experience. And this setup is particularly beneficial if you're cautious about data privacy and want to minimize external data sharing. Alright, so let's talk about the pros and cons. On the plus side, you actually get to choose which AI assistant you want to use, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, or something else. The whole thing is optional too, so nothing is turned on by default and you have to actively enable it by yourself. And that's a refreshing change. Another thing that stands out is the transparency. You can see exactly how the AI prompt is structured before it's sent, and Mozilla is clear in trying to avoid unnecessary data collection wherever possible. For the downsides, it's not the sleekest implementation out there. Compared to something like Copilot in Microsoft Edge, this feels a bit more manual. You have to highlight text each time, which can get repetitive if you're moving quickly through content. And of course, this is still experimental, so bugs, rough edges, or features that aren't fully baked yet, that's all part for the deal for now. That said, if you care about transparency, control, and privacy, I think Mozilla's take on AI is definitely worth a look, even if it's still a work in progress. So that's Firefox Nightly AI experiment in a nutshell. You get a customizable sidebar, access to multiple AI chatbots, and a smart set of tools for summarizing, explaining, and proofreading content, all without sacrificing your privacy. Or at least that's what they claim. It's not perfect, and it's not trying to be the flashiest tool on the block, but it's thoughtful. And in a world where AI features are often launched like fireworks, loud, bright, and sometimes confusing, that thoughtfulness actually matters. So if you're the kind of person who wants AI assistance without compromising your data, I think Firefox Nightly is definitely worth the test drive. But just remember, this is not something we would use on a daily, so we can only hope these features come in the stable build of Firefox. So let me know what you think about Mozilla's approach. Does it align with your expectations for a privacy-first browser? Let me know in the comments. If you're just here to see tech in action, feel free to try it out and see what you think. If you found this useful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're into browser tech or privacy tools, I've got a few more videos coming up that dive deep into that space. So thanks for watching or listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.